What's up, everybody? Happy Monday. It's Ash, and I'm here with another studio update. This is one that I filmed probably 3 weeks ago, and then didn't actually edit because I was in the midst of like that, burst of energy where you get something finally accomplished, like clearing out the small office studio, which had not been cleared out. Chase helped me get all the bookshelves out of there, rip up the carpet, clean the floor, which was a complete nightmare. And then I patched it all and got ready to paint. And then while I was painting, I was also stripping what was going to be the audio table, which is a beautiful old oak table that I got for like $20 on Facebook Marketplace, which had like a terrible top surface. So I stripped it and then restained it and coated it. So I figured I would just like combine these two videos because I never bothered. Well, I didn't not bother. I got caught in the frenzy of like renovating, and then they just sat there. Like I filmed them and then couldn't find the time to edit them because I was editing other things, and put these out together as like one video and just chat about what's been going on. This room, obviously, I wanted to turn into a space where I could just like sit down and record things that were more like intimate, like smaller. So smaller games, board games, RPGs, interviews, sit and chats, like just anything that's mostly audio. And this is like literally the room where every battle report had been filmed for 8 years. There's a 6-foot gaming table in here. There's all his bookcases. Like it was super cramped, and I kind of needed to like exorcise the ghosts of that from my mind and make it into something totally different and totally new. So I started off by patching the walls and then getting rid of all of that, like, I don't know, like Citadel elf flesh colored paint. I went with like I guess like the classic like dive bar black for the walls. I don't know why I found that so comforting. It looks like a punk club or a dive club. And it's apparently one of the most popular wall colors at Home Depot right now. So it's actually really easy to get the paint. It didn't cover super great, so I took a couple coats in some places because whatever that it is a paintless primer, but like whatever that was underneath, it just didn't cover super well. But I figured that way, if I did like the blue in the one room and the black or like charcoal, I guess, in the other room, then all the goofy, cool stuff that I've been digging out of boxes and finding when I've been packing up and unpacking the studio and organizing the warehouse, could go up on the wall and it would just kind of pop off and look cool. And then the walls didn't get in the way of just like, I guess, like distracting me. So that was the first angle. As you can see here, the second angle, I've taped everything off, and you can see this was just as the other room was finished basically a few weeks ago, and then got this all painted, just rolled it up after it was all patched. I'm really not sad to see that Deneb stone get covered up. It was the ugliest color. The place had no personality, and honestly, getting rid of it has been a giant joy. I think I'm very happy it's gone. I did have a few oopses every now and again where I did a little paint splatter on the edges. I had to go clean up, but for the most part, this is a super fast paint. Like this paint covered great. I went back and like as the walls, the first basically like half of it had dried while I was doing the second half, I went and touched it up and just did the trim. I didn't bother replacing the outlets because I'd found at the Restore, the Habitat for Humanity Restore, black like outlet covers, which was really cool. I got them for like 25 cents each, so I just let the paint get right on those covers and then popped them off and put new ones on later on. And yeah, I think I disappeared for a second because I'm doing the window in there, which all told there are 9 missing window slats, which means I've kind of like put the window slots I needed into the big like sort of like group room, and that made me happy. And here I am done. Finally, room is complete. I think I do a couple more touch-ups and then I move on to stripping a table. So if you've never done this before, it's actually not that hard. You just get some paint stripper, paint it on, let it sit for a minute, and then get yourself a putty knife, and you're just gonna scrape off the old top coat. And you can see I'm just wiping it into a cardboard box basically. So I scrape it off, put another coat of the stripper down, and then for the edges that are round where you can't use it, I use steel wool to scrape off the rest. Once it's like mostly off, I'm going to get the stain off, the original stain, and get down to bare wood. So I'm just using a sander. there's enough of the stain on there still that I want to like try and get rid of, you know, the majority of the remaining sort of like color. It's not going to be too big a deal because I'm going to stain it black eventually with like almost like a matte black stain. But I want to make sure that any of those like imperfections, like that one sort of like dark spot that's like burned into it or whatever it was, are removed before I start doing that. And then just giving it a decent sand will remove any possibility the stain doesn't actually like get down to the wood, and hope some of that grain pop out when I finish it off and put the top coat on. And that's like the most probably like laborious part of all this, is getting the thing down to bare wood. And I start with a couple of different kinds of sandpaper. So I think I start with an 80 grit, and then I go to like probably like a 120, and then a 200 and a 300 to finish it off. And by the time I'm done, you can also see there's something. I was very bad with my camera angles. I can't remember if the things in that pile of stuff behind me have come out or not yet, so I wanted to make sure I covered it up. There were some things in there I'm pretty sure haven't been released yet, so I made sure I blurred that. I was looking through this, and as I was editing, I was like, oh, hang on. Oh, whoops. I probably shouldn't be in the camera angle that you just made dummy. It was also hard too, because I was creating like obviously so much like so much dust. I had to like wipe it off every now and again to see where I'd actually gotten the stain off, because the wood dust was the sawdust. Sorry, I guess it's not sawdust, it's a sander's dust. Was like covering up the table and making it look like I'd gotten deeper than I had, and I'm just kind of like grinding it off here. This is the one power tool I would recommend if you do buy a power tool. You know, like if you like that kind of stuff, buy a corded sander. Like, it's just so much easier to use a corded one because they're just a bit more powerful, and they tend to not run out as fast because you're running it like constantly. It's not like a drill where you're kind of running it in intervals, or a saw where you're running it in intervals. You're running a sander like non-stop. And I just find they chew through batteries, so I have a corded one. Just a cheap ass corded one because you burn through them. And then I start staining. So the stain's easy. I get some, I think it's quad zero like steel wool. You dip it in your stain after you give it a good stir, and then you wipe it on. Look at the beautiful grain. It's a shame I didn't keep this color, but I wanted it to be black because I wanted it to be kind of neutral on camera, and I also wanted the tone underneath, so I let that dry overnight. And then I put my black stain on, but it means that the red stain is underneath that black stain, so it keeps the warmth in all of the parts where the layer underneath like pops through, and I really liked that when it was all said and done. So yeah, so same thing, just using some like 4-0 steel wool to grind it out and get the top coat done, and then just grabbing some paper towel or like a cloth and wiping off all the excess after it dries. And then once it was dry, going on with some Varathane oil-based. I think I use satin finish. I don't want it to be too reflective, like top coat. And this stuff is, I find, indestructible. And then giving it a layer of that to throw down and seal it up, because it gets over a couple days, because like my clothes change I think 3 or 4 times in these videos. And when that's done, just give it a final wipe. And you can see I've got my desk up in the office. I grabbed some office chairs I get on Facebook Marketplace, and some like nice sort of just like sitting room chairs. And I grabbed this thing, dropped it in here, and threw down some mics. And this is, you can see I was excited to like actually get this thing done and get it all set up, but I ended up having to screw these mics in, drill holes through the clamps and screw them in, because the clamps kept like coming undone as I screwed around with them. But these had been set up a couple times in the bigger office, and now for the first time I was getting to set them up in here. And all the soundproofing hadn't been done yet. I just painted the walls, but I was pumped to get it all set up and done. So there it is. And that's kind of weeks 4, 5, 6 kind of mashed together a little bit, as far as the like renos and stuff go in here. And you've seen some videos, obviously. You see me interview Colin Ross and Brent Amberger, and a bunch of other people. We did a Work in Progress Wednesday in here already just to test out the sound, and as it changes, it'll continue to be updated. I already shot a video basically with what it looks like today, which you'll see I think on Wednesday. I'll probably put it the same day as my Work in Progress Wednesday. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with me again, guys, while I do this work. I will promise not to get too caught up in it, so that I don't keep updating. But the plan is keep you appraised so you guys can see how it's going. We're in the home stretch for the front office, and then I can tackle the behemoth that is the warehouse space and building the soundstage. Have a great week, everybody. Bye.